All right. Welcome, everyone. So today we will be talking to Benjamin Clifford from SurfAbility, the adaptive surf school in Caswell Bay, Swansea, which is in the UK. I came in contact with Benjamin because of a vision loss traveler that takes surfing classes at this surfing school, being completely blind. Hi, Benjamin. We're
Hi.
we're so happy to have you here on this podcast, and I would like to let you know that you are the very first person to be interviewed within the vision loss travel community, and I'm so excited to hear more about surfability. So I would love for you to tell us a little bit more about how you came up with the idea to do adaptive surfing.
Okay, so adapted surfing started for me with volunteering. I volunteered at an event that was being held for children who have autism, and it was just so lovely to see how much the young people were getting from being in the water. I came away from it thinking, what a shame it was an event and wasn't something that these children could do every week.
Yeah.
So I started a surf club for autistic children in my area, and things have grown and grown and grown from that, really.
Yeah, great. Yeah, because probably for autistic children, you don't really need to like adapt the board itself.
No, not too much in physical adaptations. Some of the surfers who were less able to understand instructions and follow instructions needed to surf tandem with coaches on the board with them.
Yeah.
So for those guys, we needed just extra big boards. So we found some soft sup boards, and we started using those for tandem surfing. Um,
Okay.
and then that was just so good. I thought, why not anyone with any additional needs be able to come down and surf?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. So every person they get like a personal treatment, like the surfboard gets adapted to them, or how does that work?
Yeah. So with the equipment, it's we start off with like one size fits as many people as possible, and then our surfers who participate really regularly might go on then and get their own wetsuit or their own custom board or whatever it is they need. So we start off. We had to build just gradually over the years our supply of equipment,
Yeah.
but we've now got a custom built adapted surfing center, which is where I am today. We've got proper changing rooms with hoists, and we've got all kinds of different shapes and sizes of boards with different adaptations and different wetsuits and all kinds of things.
That's great. I love that. And can you run me through a little bit how the process goes when you would get somebody that is visually impaired or completely blind?
Yeah. So we work with lots of people who have visual impairments, and I have been since the start. One of my first students was visually impaired, and so most of the guys would use a standard surfboard, and they'll have a one-on-one coach. Sometimes they'll have two helpers with them. So we're quite used to guiding people. So we'll be able to guide the person down onto the beach. We'll be able to uh, help with wetsuit and whatever first of
Yeah.
all. So get kitted up. We need to wear a wetsuit most of the time here. Might get a few days in the summer where you don't need to wear a wetsuit, but usually it's fairly cold water. So
Yeah, I can
it's,
imagine
it's
that.
lovely once you get your wetsuit on.
Yeah.
And so then we'll guide the person down the beach. Surfing's really good because you can get yourself in the right place on the surfboard by feel. You don't have to see the board to be able to line yourself up properly. So you can
Yeah.
feel if your toes are off the tail of the board, and you're in a straight line, and you're in the right position on the board. Um, and then we've tried to make a few of the boards more tactile, so we put different textures on there, like
Right.
for hand positions and foot positions. So so then there's a couple of different ways of standing on a board. We'll start off just laying down on the board, getting used to the waves, the feeling of the waves. As we walk out into the water, we'll give a commentary of what's going on. Then we'll start catching a couple of waves. We can start just in very shallow water and gradually go out a little bit deeper. anyone who was a beginner would usually be in their own waist high and wouldn't usually go deeper than that.
Yeah.
So wherever we are, the person can stand up.
Great.
The big concern for people is always getting hit by their board. So if they fall off and not knowing where the board is, so we can do a little practice where we put the leash which attaches you to the board. We
Yeah.
put that around someone's leg, and we can pull it from different angles and ask the person to point to where they think the board is. So just get used to that, thinking about where it is, and that awareness of it. And then we'll also have a catcher in the water. So the coach will normally help the person catch the wave in the first place, and then if they're riding in, if they fall off whilst they're riding in, or when they get to the shore, there'll be someone there who can talk to them and be like, okay, and make sure the board isn't going to hit anyone, and go back out and catch another one. And then some of our surfers like lots of description. They want to know, what the waves are like that day, like the distance between the waves, its size, and the description of the beach and what's going on and everything. And other surfers like it much more simple.
Yeah.
But we find it works really well. It's I just got so much respect for our visually impaired surfers. It's such a brave thing to do and a big challenge. It's we train as visually impaired surfers ourselves, because it helps us in coaching. So excuse me. So we have swimming goggles where we've covered the lenses.
Oh, yes.
And we practice being removing our vision and then catching waves ourselves, and also coaching each other when we're unable to see.
Yeah.
And then being coached, and it really gives you really helps you with that kind of understanding of what's useful and what isn't, and how to coach well.
Yes, definitely, because it comes a lot with feeling the waves and being ready, and how do you bring that over to the other person, and with experiencing yourself is always definitely the best way.
Yeah, it's really different working with someone who has always been blind to someone who has gradually lost their vision.
Yeah.
Because someone who's gradually lost their vision has probably seen a surfer or an image of someone surfing, even if they haven't tried it themselves.
Yeah.
So they kind of understand, and they've seen waves, and but for someone who's never seen waves before or never seen someone surfing, you're starting from zero, so it's you've got to think about what you're saying and your position, and sometimes you might have to ask, okay, do you mind if I put my hands on you and move you into the right position you need to be in? And that's a bit more of a challenge then, but it's just I really enjoy it as a coach myself. It makes me really think about my coaching and what I'm doing and how best to help people.
That is so great. I really love that. I saw also that you also have a certification course to kind of teach other surf instructors around the world. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so because SurfAbility is a full-time adapted surfing school, we do more surfing than anyone else does, more adapted sessions. So the world governing body of surfing, the International Surfing Association, asked me if I would co-write the qualification for adaptive surf coaches.
Yeah.
So I flew over to California and I co-wrote the qualification, and I've been lucky enough to deliver it to lots of people and to kind of help spread this around the world. This year I recently worked out, actually, so far this year oh, excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough.
That's all right.
So far this year I've traveled 13,000 miles and taught 75 coaches.
Oh, wow.
So it's
That's
amazing
impressive.
to see it growing worldwide. And I've been all over the place. Puerto Rico, The Hague, Northern Ireland, England, all kinds of places.
That's great. Definitely also because there are so many people that are visually impaired or blind that really love traveling, and that are also looking for doing an activity on their travels, and something that is safe and adapted to them. Is there some kind of list or a website where we can find the adaptive surf schools around the world?
Yeah. So if anyone's interested in coming to Wales and surfing with SurfAbility, you can look us up, and if you just do a Google search for SurfAbility, you'll find us. Otherwise, on the International Surf Association website, there's a list of accredited surf schools and coaches, so you can look that up, and yeah, you can find someone who has that qualification, and they would have done that visually impaired training, and they'll be able to include you in their sessions.
Okay, great. Well, I'll definitely make sure that there are some links in the description below as well, so that
Great.
people can
Yeah.
easily find that. I also saw that there are competitions for adaptive surfers. How does that go?
Yeah, so that's really fun as well. I actually got to compete at the Welsh Nationals with Ashley last year.
Yeah, cool.
I felt a lot of pressure on myself. I
I
felt
can
like,
imagine.
I was competing as well, and it's a lot of teamwork, and it takes a lot of communication. Um, so you would do, when you're competing, you're a guide, but it's completely hands off. You're not allowed to touch the surfer. You can only verbally guide them.
Yeah.
So I would be saying to Ash, okay, as we're paddling out, you need to paddle on your left hand side a few times if he's going off in one direction and not staying straight. And okay, or you need to paddle, 2 paddles on your right, and then you develop a system with your athlete that you're guiding.
Yeah.
Um, and then as the wave comes, you would be describing the wave. So you might say, okay, there's a wave coming. It looks like a good one to catch. It's however many meters away now, maybe like 3 meters away. Okay, it looks like it's going to be a left-hander. And it's not so steep, so you're gonna have to paddle quite hard, or it looks like it's gonna be a really steep one, so we're gonna paddle just right at the last second. And you kind of try and describe it and try and get that timing right, and then like, okay, paddle, 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 go, and then you're right, you got it, jump, and like, yeah. And then the athlete, once they're on the wave, is independently riding the wave just through the feeling of being on the wave and being told whether it was a left or right to start with, but then really like the more experienced visually impaired surfers are just so incredible. Their positioning on the wave without being able to see the wave, I just find it's just amazing. It blows me away. It really does. It's so skilled, and just being able to feel the wave and listen to it and position yourself right in that curl of the wave, right in that steep, fast
Yeah.
section, and yeah, it's fantastic.
Oh, it's definitely impressive to me. I've tried a couple of surfing classes myself, having my vision, and I wasn't very good. So I can
Yeah, it's
imagine
easy to
that.
have fun there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And
Yeah,
it definitely takes a lot of time to develop those skills. And
yeah,
I feel also your instructor is extremely important. And that's why I like that you're spreading your knowledge over the world, how to help people with a visual impairment, to how to guide them the best way to learn this
yeah.
skill.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to do. And then sometimes you've got the guide dog to think of as well, and depending on
Yeah,
how well behaved the guide dog is, sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's not. But they'll be on the beach causing mischief whilst we're in the water.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, uh, what do you usually do with the guide dog? Is it somebody that holds the dog?
Yeah, sometimes people will bring a helper with them, and they'll look after the dog. Or sometimes if it's quite a placid dog, it can just relax in our building whilst we're in the water. I just like to have a run around the beach and dig and have a
Yeah,
play. Yeah,
have his own fun time.
yeah, it depends on their character, really.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can't do that with every dog. That's
yeah.
for sure. That's for sure. What, Benjamin, what would you say to someone that is kind of thinking about it, but is still a little bit afraid to make that first step?
Yeah, I say, it's a big step, and you've got to be prepared to put a lot of trust in your coach. But if you know that your coach has that ISA adaptive qualification, they're going to be trained to a high standard. They would have practiced this, and you'll have a great time. And surfing is about riding a wave, however you ride the wave. You can't fail in surfing unless you've got a bad coach.
Yeah.
It's going to feel great, and it's not about whether you can stand up. It's just being in that environment, being outdoors, exercising, feeling the sea, and just that feeling you get from riding a wave is just incredible. And it could be laying down, sitting on the board, standing if you can, however you do it. It's going to feel great, and it's going to be be really good fun. So, just take that step and go for it. And make sure your coach is accredited, and they're going to do a good job.
Okay, great. Well, I would like to thank you for your time. I know you've been really, really busy. So I'm very happy that we could pick a little bit of your time and have a bit of information about what you do. As I said before, I'm going to make sure that all the links are in this description below so that people can easily find you or another surf adaptable coach. And yeah, thank you so much.
No problem. Yeah, it's lovely talking to you, and it's a great thing you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you have a lovely day, and hopefully you get some good waves coming today.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Okay. Thank you so much, Benjamin.
Hey, cheers.
Bye.